USC just fired head coach Clay Helton today, and it's begun a heated debate or a very lively topic of discussion as to who is going to replace him. There are many names that are being thrown around, a couple keep coming up in all of these conversations, but there are plenty of names that can be used in these, and we're going to talk about some of those today. We're going to look at the top 10 candidates that I think right now should be considered. Obviously, this will change towards the end of the year. There's probably not going to be any announcement now. There's, the interim is being is named right now, so we're not really looking for someone to run the program immediately, but we are going to be looking towards the future. If you like any college football related content, please subscribe. Be greatly appreciated. There's a lot of college football breakdowns, rankings, you name it. We do pretty much everything college football related here. So if you feel free, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see in the future, what you like, what you don't like. All that stuff is good for discussion. But today we're going to look at who is going to replace Clay Helton for the USC Trojans. Now, these are not necessarily in top 10 to 1, but these are just 10 names that I think will be talked about quite a bit. A couple of them have already been widely discussed even before Helton was fired, so it shouldn't be a surprise to see these guys on this list. First up is going to be Luke Fickell. I think that's the most obvious one for most people. The athletic director at USD is Mike Bohn. He used to be at Cincinnati. Fickell is now at Cincinnati, so the connection there seems pretty obvious. I don't think that Fickell would leave for USC. It doesn't feel like he's been waiting around for a job like USC. It feels like he's maybe waiting around for Notre Dame if things with Brian Kelly don't work out there, or even like a Big Ten job. He's kind of a Midwest guy, so it feels like he's waiting kind of for a Midwest job that is at a higher level, obviously, than he's at Cincinnati. Or maybe he's just trying to build Cincinnati into something. They just joined the Big 12. They've been growing their program under Fickell quite a bit. And they've been really one of the forces in the AAC for the last few years. So I don't think USC is a job that he'd leave for. The obvious connection with the athletic director makes things kind of, the direct connection obviously is there. So there's not really much to discuss other than the connection between those two. Another one I keep seeing is Bob Stoops. Stoops is currently an analyst for Fox Sports. It's early morning Saturday morning show, Big Noon Kickoff. I don't think that he's coming back to coaching anytime soon, but then again, we thought that about Urban Meyer. We thought that about Stoops, and then he came back to the XFL, and now he's with Fox. I don't know if USC is a good fit for Bob Stoops. Maybe he's just good being retired. And, Urban Meyer's a name that keeps getting thrown around. He's not going to be included on this list. He's at Jacksonville. I think he's there for a little while to see how things play out. I don't know why he'd go to the NFL and then, I don't know. I don't see it. That's just not me. But it's definitely an intriguing option. Stoops is another one. He has national championship experience, so that's another thing to keep an eye out for. Next up, there's a couple names that are two of the hottest names in college football right now. First one is Deion Sanders. He's the head coach at Jackson State. Now, while I don't necessarily believe that he is going to jump to USC, I think what he's building at Jackson State is really, really good. I think he does, however, have the right personality to fit in Los Angeles quite well. Now, that being said, that also could mean that there's a lot more to manage there. I don't know what it would mean with Deion there. I know it'd be a lot of fun. I know that he can really grow a program. I'm not necessarily sure if he is a head coach you want to hire to fix what's going on at USC because we just really haven't, it's not really a big enough sample size at Jackson State to me. I think you need to see a little bit more, but I think that if you did hire him, it would be a super fun time. I think you're going to like the excitement and the energy that Deion would bring to your program. So there definitely are benefits of bringing him in. Next up is Billy Napier. The Louisiana head coach has been one of the hottest names in the coaching carousel for the last 2 years, and the Raging Cajuns should be another solid team. To me, USC isn't a team that's going to approach him. It feels like he's going to stay maybe more out east. He probably would get an interview just because of the success he's had at Louisiana, but it doesn't appear to me that it would be a USC front runner at least. And he'd definitely be on the name. They give him a call. They maybe give him an interview, but I don't think he's top on their list. These next two guys, to me, are pretty high on the list. I think that at least they should be. Hugh Freeze at Liberty has been done a great job at Ole Miss before obviously things went south, and now he's trying to move on at Liberty. He's produced a Heisman Trophy candidate in Malik Willis at quarterback, so I think that he is another great potential candidate for USC. I think he brings an exciting offense that could put up a ton of points and make things at least exciting on the field. It feels like things have gotten kind of stale for the Trojans as of late. Another one, James Franklin. That's another name that keeps getting thrown around. The Penn State head coach has been tied with USC for a long time now, it seems. I don't know if he would leave Penn State for USC. I don't know if that's a big enough jump for him to leave. Feels like he's got a decent thing going at Penn State, but he would also do a great job at USC. He's a great recruiter. He's shown that he can build the Vanderbilt program. He can build Penn State into a contender in the Big Ten, win a Big Ten championship. I think that he would be a great coach, a great head coach selection should they choose him. And that's going to lead us to the next guy, which has a Penn State connection, in Bill O'Brien, the current Alabama offensive coordinator. He helped Penn State go through one of the worst times in college football. And I think that that's someone that you're going to have to at least give maybe some attention to. He has NFL experience, which is good for your head coach to have. And I think that he is probably going to be due for another coaching job at the college level, at least. I don't know how high he'd be up on USC's list, but that's definitely another guy to keep an eye on. One that I'm not sold on, but I think would be very intriguing. Well, I'm probably more just going to we're going to put these two together. PJ Fleck from Minnesota. People threw his name out, and immediately I just don't feel like PJ Fleck is a Los Angeles or a USC kind of guy. I think that he is great at Minnesota. I think he should stay at Minnesota for as long as he can, as long as they'll let him. I think that what he preaches is well received in Minnesota. It feels like it's a great fit for both sides. The message that's being sent out is received really well by his players. They buy into this culture, and he can really build Minnesota into something that he really likes. And Big Ten contender, probably. They have the talent to do it. He's been bringing in great recruiting classes. I just don't know if the things that he says, roll the boat, elite, those kind of things, they're great sayings, but I don't know if that works in Los Angeles. I just don't see a guy like that working out there. So I don't know. To me, it's PJ Fleck is a great coach. I think that he is one of the best coaches in college football. I just don't necessarily know if the fit is right. He'd be a great coach for USC. I just don't know if he'd fit in as well as people are thinking. Another one, which is just kind of, I guess we're gonna have 11, but I'm putting these two together. Mario Cristobal at Oregon. With how successful Oregon's been, especially after winning Ohio State, you're going to see Cristobal's name on a lot of jobs. I don't think he's going to leave. I think that Oregon is a great place for him to stay. The only job that I really think he might even consider is the Miami job. But for now, you're going to build Oregon to something that you can contend with on a yearly basis. And I think that that's something that he would rather do than join another Pac-12 team that he has to rebuild. Second to last, Greg Schiano. He's at Rutgers right now. He kind of like Fleck. I feel like he's just really good at Rutgers where he's at. However, he's shown that he can build a program. And right now, USC needs some, maybe almost like a complete redo, complete remodel, if you will. It's something that, USC has been good. I mean, they made it to the Pac-12 championship last year, but they lost to Oregon, who didn't even win their division. So it's clear that a step needs to be taken. Is Schiano the guy that can do that? He definitely can rebuild. You've seen what he's done at Rutgers the first, and now he's doing it again in the second time. And I don't know if USC fans would receive him well, but I know that there's a guy who has proven that he can rebuild something, and that would be a new challenge at USC. It just becomes a matter of, does USC want to go through that rebuild with him? And then finally, Clemson offensive coordinator Tony Elliott. This might be the dark horse of this group. I think Elliott has been in conversations for many head coaching jobs, but has just stuck it out at Clemson. And why would you leave with the talent that they get there? But going to USC is something that he could definitely build. He can definitely show that he's the right guy for the job. It just comes down to, is Mike Bohn ready to really, I guess, start over and give a first time head coach a shot to rebuild his program. I think if you're firing Clay Helton, you're not necessarily going for you're probably going for a new coach, obviously, maybe something that's different than what you've seen, but I don't know if you're going a first-time head coach. And Tony Elliott brings a lot of potential as a coach. I think he's very good at what he does with Clemson, and you'd be getting a lot of that 4- and 5-star talent at USC, but can he be a head coach is the biggest question for him. And really with all these, it's just, it doesn't, I don't know if there's anyone that really stands out. If you had to pick a top three, in my top three right now at this moment, we Fickell, Franklin, and then after that, it's kind of a coin flip. I think that I'm just going to put Dion there just because I like the potential of excitement there. And, you know, when Pete Carroll was there, he embraced the LA culture. He embraced what they needed to do. And Dion has a personality that fills the room and even like goes outside of the room. He's just larger than life personality. And that fits at the LA culture again. So I just put him third. He's highly unlikely to go there, but I just think that would be really fun. Let me know who you think. Who do you think is going to be the next coach at USC? Obviously, a lot of things can change as the season goes on. We might see a random person that we haven't talked about today, but let me know who you want to think down in the comments below. Let me know who you think is going to be the next coach at USC. Again, make sure you're subscribed. A lot of college football content coming out, breakdowns, like I said, film breakdowns, rankings, just general content like this. Make sure you're subscribed, leave a comment, leave a like, and until next time, we'll see you later.